Hey everybody, what's going on? Okay, we got some news from the Jason universe today. We got, I guess, a sneak peek at the NECA Savini Jason figure that is coming out really soon that they are making, as well as a look at the new Jason hockey mask. And let's just say, like a lot of us were worried about after seeing the Greg Nicotero AI image or whatever it was, our fears have been realized, unfortunately. So let's get into it. Okay, so we finally got a look at this new Jason mask. Now, you guys will remember this image that was released a while back by the Jason universe of the new look Jason that many of us assumed was AI created until we found out Greg Nicotero was behind the look, which, a lot of respect for Greg Nicotero. He's awesome. He is a makeup and special effects and horror god to many of us, and I'm no different. I love the guy. He's great, but I just think the concept art here, as I've mentioned before, I'm not a fan of at all. I don't like the, I guess you could say the size of Jason in general. He looks like a fairly, average sized fellow. Not very big, certainly not burly like I've always seen Jason pretty much in just about every film. He's been a pretty big burly guy. Sometimes maybe too big. But anyway, not really a fan of the look. I really didn't like the look of the mask. I was hoping it was, nothing they were doing too seriously. But it looks like they've taken it to the next level, and that is definitely what the mask is going to look like. This new 13-minute commercial for, I believe it's an apple cider, is going to feature Jason wearing this new mask. I do not know if that means we're going to see this mask in future projects or not, because another thing that was announced along with this new mask was that they are doing a new movie, so there will be a new movie coming. They confirmed that a game is coming, which I thought wasn't even news. I mean, Harry Manfredini said it back in June of 2023 that he was working on a new game. So I've been waiting for over 2 years just for any information about it at all, or even a confirmation. But I didn't think it would take over 2 years just to get a confirmation that yes, we're working on a new game, and that's it. They had nothing else to add, so there really isn't anything there, unfortunately. But they just confirmed that it is for sure happening. So unfortunately, no new news there whatsoever, but we did get the news that they are going to be making a new movie, so that is exciting. That's great news. As for this new mask, not a fan of it. Okay, so it does look exactly like these drawings. These are the pictures that have been making the rounds online. So as you can see, it's the 13-hole mask. So I don't know why they thought it was such a great idea to come up with 13 holes. I mean, the only thing I can think of is it's Friday the 13th. I just imagine all these suits talking about it, saying, hey, why don't we put just 13 holes in his mask? Because it's Friday the 13th. Huh? And they're sitting there, yeah, that's a great idea, genius. Meanwhile, the rest of us real fans are just like, what are you doing? Like, I think it's a terrible mistake. The 13 holes, that's the first thing that bothers me, because if you look through the years, like this one here, that's a part 4, okay, shower scene. It's virtually the same mask the part 3 one was. I know the shape is a little bit different, but essentially it looks pretty much the same. Just the shape's a little bit different. It's not exact. But if you look at the drill hole pattern on it, it's 30 holes that are on it, and it's always the same on every mask. The part 6 mask, it was the same for the 5, the dream sequence 5, the 7 hiding over here, so it's probably there, I have sort of a 3 down there. That's a Chinese blank I did many years ago. But anyway, my point is, he's always had that consistency with his mask. It's like Jason's MO, you know? It's part of how he looks. The hockey mask has the holes in it like that. You know, that's Jason's look. And I mean, I get if you want to change the mask look and they want to, you know, freshen it up or whatever, fine, but I wouldn't screw with the drill hole count. It's been so consistent. Like even on the Jason X mask, like before he went Uber, like the mask, the shape changed a lot, and some people liked it, some didn't. I thought it looked pretty cool. You know, it wasn't such a radical change that I thought it was terrible. Yeah, I never minded that design, but if you look, it still has the same hole pattern. That's pretty much like the other masks. And then the other thing is the chevrons. Like what are they doing there? That chevron is so big it covers just about the diameter of the mask. It looks like a giant red unibrow. I think it just looks ridiculous. Like it's not even something I don't think anybody would put on a hockey mask. You know what I mean? Like these things are supposed to look like it was, you know, something out of the 80s at the time and in an equipment locker or something that Shelley grabbed to try to freak everybody out with, right? The chevrons, again, with the movies, a lot of them changed. Like the 7 and the 6, you know, the chevrons look different. They only used one in those films, of course, the 4 had one, but really, in terms of the width and height, they're still fairly close. You know, they're about the same size in the original, like the 3, 4, same thing, approximately the same size. Even the 2 and 3, generally smaller. Now, I get that 5, they did the different chevrons, the blue ones, of course, for Roy. And I get that. If you want to change the look and maybe you want to give him 3 chevrons and make the other 2 a little bit bigger, fine. I just think it looks extreme on this. It looks comical and silly. Like it almost looks cartoonish. Like when I saw it, I thought I could see that mask like on a Family Guy character or something. You know, it doesn't look like something made for an actual human being. Like it's just weird. Anyway, which brings me to the third issue I have with the mask, and it's probably the worst, is the eye holes. Like the eye cuts for these masks are so different. It's so like they're sort of rectangular, and like it really takes away from Jason's look. That's another thing that's been consistent with all these masks, is the eye holes pretty much look the same. They're fairly roundish. They look like dark, dead circle eyes. They remind me of a shark's eyes. You know, the lifeless eyes, like a doll's eyes. But seriously, it's just Jason always looked kind of intimidating to me with those eye holes. There was just something, you know, emotionless behind it and scary. You know, he never said anything. They were always very dark. You couldn't see. I think those elements are really important for the character. Like, I wouldn't screw with the eye hole shape, the drill pattern with the holes, and I'd keep the chevrons reasonably sized. Like, do what you want. You want 1, you want 3, you want to make a couple a little bigger or whatever, like the Part 5 mask, cool, you know. There's a lot of ways you can change it up. You can change it up with damage or you know, different aging on it or no aging, like a bright white, could be yellowish, or like the sky's the limit there. But you're completely changing the ingredients going with this ridiculous mask style. Like, look at this thing. I can't stand it. When I look at this thing, you know what I thought of? I thought of this. See this right here? It's kind of heavily modified, but maybe if I show you the back of it. This originally had 3 holes here, okay? And then it had this weird mouth thing with the, you know, the cheese grater grill mouth. I don't understand what that's for. Maybe if you're looking to have some grated cheese while you're doing your killing. Perhaps, but this is actually a mask by Fun World Div, it actually says in here. But I got this thing in about 1988, and it's because it was the first mask I had ever seen in any store anywhere that even resembled Jason's actual hockey mask, because I could never find anything like that. Certainly not here in Alberta, Canada. You know, not in 1988. Like, the coolest thing that was out in 88 was the Freddy latex mask. That was just released. It sort of came with a foam fedora. I always wanted that. That was probably the coolest thing out there in 88. There was mainstream that I would have had access to. but it's a pretty expensive mask, and I was never lucky enough to get one of those. But I saw this in a fairly cheap store. I don't know if it was like a drugstore or sort of a low-key place that had Halloween stuff in it. But I saw it and I was blown away because I'm like, oh my god, I could almost make a Jason mask out of this. And immediately I thought about, okay, I gotta cover this mouth, and we gotta, what I should have done is done a proper repaint of it and really went crazy with it. But I was 12 years old, I didn't know any better, so I just kind of covered it with white tape, and then I originally drew on all the other little drill holes from the movie, and obviously I didn't do them very well. Like, this is way narrow and it's way off. Ridiculous 12-year-old kid. But anyway, I also drew on the chevron, and later I ended up drilling out the holes, as you can see, and they're tiny little holes. Like, I didn't do a good job at all. But what reminded me about this mask was sort of the radically different eye hole shapes that this thing has. Like, I just remember anytime you had that on, even if this was covered and looked sort of like a Jason mask, the eye holes, I remember, always looked so different. It was so much easier to see everything behind your eye. And I remember really not liking it, going, man, it doesn't look right. But this is all we had, so I dealt with what I had. I worked with what I could work with, right? But anyway, just the funky shape of these eye holes, I just think are really going to be a lot like this new mask with the, I know they're not shaped like this, they're a little more rectangular or whatever, but I hate the look. I just do, I want them to do well and everything, but just most of the stuff I've seen from this Jason universe not only looks like cash grab stuff, but it looks like it's being put out by, dare I say, not really the actual fans, like Greg Nicotero's design. I love Greg Nicotero, I can't stress that enough. I just think maybe he's not the right person to do, a Jason design, because he'll be looking to make it new and do what he did with it. I just think they got to stick to the main ingredients with Jason. If they want these films to do well and people to, to like them, they need to take the elements of what everybody loved about the Friday the 13th movies, the things people like, not didn't like about them, right? So I would be looking at the surveys for what's their favorite looking Jason, which one was the most scary, which one is the one that made you think that's Jason to me, right? And look at all the fan polls and stuff, and you'd probably see that most fans picture Jason as a large guy. He's generally going to be, he's either going to be a big guy or a crazy big guy. Personally, I'm not for the crazy big, like 6'7". Like, I thought Derek Mears did a great job. He's a great Jason. He's a really big guy, So that size, I think that's a little bit too big. Like, I think the perfect Jason should be a guy who's bigger than your average big guy, but not so big it's like, what the, Like, when you see Tyler Mane, you go, what the, like, he's huge. Like Derek Mears. I don't think he should be quite that big, but I think he should be a much larger than, like a natural heavyweight. Like CJ Graham from Jason Lives. I thought he's a great size. He's about 6'3", so it's pretty tall. And he's about 250 and like thick, solid guy. Like, that's a big dude, So that would look intimidating, but it would still look realistic. It would be like, he's a big friggin' guy. There may be some bigger guys out there. You're probably not going to see a lot of them. But I just think that's plenty big for his character. So in the Greg Nicotero one, he looks to me like he's maybe 6 foot and probably 175, 180 pounds, It's like a perfect GQ model, like build. That's how I always say, with the really broad shoulders, little tiny waist. It just doesn't scream Jason to me. Jason always, to me, seemed like a burly guy, like a guy who would have some real size and strength on him, bigger than your average dude. So that throws me off. But I think if they kept that, look for Jason, like the 30 drill hole pattern that they've always had. Just stick with that look. That's the look you guys made that made Jason Jason. Like, that's how he looks in pop culture. Keep those details, like the shape of the eye holes. That's his MO. That's how he looks, you know. I think those things are really important to fans, you know. And I think not enough people are looking at, well, not enough people in the Jason Universe camp are looking at the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street reboot, where Freddy's look changed pretty substantially. And I get that the burns were more realistic and all that, sure. It's just the look changed so much. I know that was one of the many reasons people didn't like it very much, but they changed it a lot. And I feel like this new look with Jason and the mask, they changed it even more radically. Like, it feels like it's an even crazier change. So for me, I think it would work better. You keep the eye holes looking pretty much the same, the drill hole pattern the same, change the mask however you want, chevron it up however you want. But yeah, don't have one going across the whole friggin' mask. Like, keep it, you know, between here and here, like, you know, like similar. Like when they did the reboot in 2009, did you guys like that hockey mask? I thought that mask was pretty good. Like, it wasn't ideal. It wasn't like, oh, that's perfect. But I saw it and I was like, well, okay, that's Jason to me. The eye holes looked good. The drill pattern looked good. The chevron looked good. They chose one for that one. Yeah, I just think they need to stick to that kind of formula, I think, if they want fans to really embrace it as, that's my Jason. It's back. I get to see him doing his thing, and it's going to be great, and it's exciting, you know? So I really think you got to get that right. That's one of the things I think Halloween 2018 did pretty well with the Michael Myers look, because I knew they obviously weren't going to bring back like a, you know, the Kirk style. I'm sure there's a lot of legal things there for using that mask, or at least there was back in the day, so I heard, which is why they didn't keep going for that look. But anyway, I just thought in that movie, as an example, they did a pretty good job with that mask. I mean, it doesn't look exactly like this, and it looks like a, you know, an aged face rather than an aged latex mask, but I think people liked it, though. It looked pretty good, and it wasn't a crazy far cry from the original, you know, and it just looked older, and this is a much older Michael Myers, so I think it worked there. I think they did a good job. But Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 did not work there, and what I'm seeing from this Jason Universe look, for me, it's not working. I don't think that's a good look at all. So I'm hoping that they only use this mask in this 13-minute cider commercial that they're working on, and not in, you know, any new upcoming movie, and hopefully not in the Crystal Lake series. They did say there's going to be an adult Jason in that, and I believe there may be even a teenage Jason, so I'm really not sure if there's going to be a hockey mask involved there or just what. Because, you know, they do have the young Jason cast, and they recently said they have the adult Jason cast. So, yeah, I guess we'll see where that goes, and if he has a mask or not. But I really hope they don't keep this design. I hope that they just use it as a test, because I've seen very few people online saying, oh, I really like it. Like, I find the people that are saying, well, it might not be so bad, or well, I don't see what the fuss is about, which I saw one person said that. A few other people were like, well, it doesn't look that bad, you know, like they seem to be on the fence a little, but very few were like, oh, this is cool, I love it, I can't wait, you know, like, no. Most of the reactions I've seen, especially from the hardcores, are like, yuck. So hopefully they clean that up. But anyway, I wanted to talk about all that. I know I'm rambling a little bit here, but you know, it's a franchise we all love. It's one of my favorites. You know, we all care about it a lot, and I just wanted to get my thoughts out on this thing, because yeah, not a big fan of this mask at all. So I guess we will see what the future brings. But anyway, that is it for now, guys. So we will see you again for another video real soon. Thank you as always for watching. You guys take care.